I wonder if I'm up and live. Let me double check over here and see if I can see that this is happening on YouTube and on LinkedIn and on Instagram. Let me see. Welcome, everybody, if you are just joining in. I'm just joining in too. Okay. Welcome, welcome. Cool. All right, it looks like we're rolling. So, I am here tonight because I want to talk about my journey into Lake Michigan. And I want to answer some of the questions by way of a live feed instead of just responding over messages about what it is that I do and why it is that I go out into the water. And I'll be getting into that. But I want to say that if you have questions, if there's things that you want to know, go ahead and type that into the chat. I'm doing my best to monitor chat on Instagram and also on YouTube. I don't think I will be getting into TikTok. That was a little bit of a, so I'll need help with that one. But we are going here on Instagram. So you can message me. You can type in questions and comments on this feed. And if you want, you can also jump over to YouTube. I will figure out how to throw a chat in for that. There we go. Okay. And so you can type questions in. But I'll take a few moments now, just as I'm getting going here, to share about. I'm not going to go all the way back. I'll start with some things. So I always like experimenting. I like finding the edges of things. Kind of like, what am I capable of? I think that's kind of a human thing we all do. And I had people start telling me about ice water and taking cold showers years and years ago, like, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago. A Kundalini yoga instructor of mine, Karan Balkar, she was like, George, you might want to check this out. Something tells me you might be somebody who would like this. And I didn't listen. I blew it off and was like, I already do a bunch of cool stuff. I don't need to do this. So I started getting into it much later. And it took years of people kind of mentioning it to me. And so it starts to become kind of a thing in my consciousness of like, oh, this is a thing that people do. But honestly, jumping into ice cold water sounds horrible. Does not sound like something that, any probably sane person would want to do. But what happened was a friend of mine was doing it and said, dude, I think you got to check this out. And I had broken my toe, so I didn't have an excuse of I have to get up and play basketball. And I just said, screw it, I'll do it. And so when I talk about ice water, going into ice water, I usually will say all the good stuff. I'll say all the benefits because there's a lot, and none of that's a lie. And there's other stuff to it that's not so great, not so fun. And so that is something that I think I'll be sharing more about. So if it's something that you really want to do, if like for whatever weirdo reason you have for perhaps wanting to get into ice water, I would be delighted to help encourage you to do that. That's like why I'm here, why I'm jumping on this and talking about this. And so I will share some ways that you can do that, but let me start with some of the things I don't always share about it. So first of all, again, years and years and years of people inviting me to do this and me kind of like looking down my nose early because I was afraid of it and being like, yeah, right, I'm not going to do that. Like, that's just why, and it's not worth it, and it can't be that great. And then when I finally did it, it was horrifying. I thought I was going to die. It was like kind of an outer body experience because like I didn't want to be there. So so my consciousness kind of like left. And the guy that was helping me go in, I remember him like looking at me and be like, George, breathe, just breathe, focus on your breath. Look at me, look at me, look at me. I think he might have been a little freaked out because I think he saw that, like, yeah, I was like, well, I'm out of here. So then I I get out and I'm toweling off. And it was in that moment that I felt something maybe I'd never felt before. Like my entire body felt alive and tingly, like in a pretty phenomenal way. It was like I was super sensitive. Like the towel felt like like I could like feel the colors of the towel. Like, I mean, so it was like, dang, all of a sudden I was having a really cool experience. And so then we went in, drank some tea. Tea's great after going into the ice water. And like even just in the short amount of time that I was in, it was very cold that morning. It was like 2 degrees. Like my feet went numb, like my whole body was numb, like the whole thing happened so fast. And I was exhilarated, but at the same time, I mean, if you ever go in and like you're not feeling exhilarated and it's mostly just like what the heck happened to my body, totally, that would be understandable. It is a pretty shocking thing to go full in to ice water. It can, so I'll share more about ways to prepare for it as well. But I'm just kind of giving the story about this of like how it is and some of the things I haven't talked about. Some of the I don't want to call them cons. I guess let's call it the price that you pay. The price I pay for going into ice water. These are the things is, it's uncomfortable as all get out. It's terrifying. I've been doing it almost 2 years now. It's still scary every single time. Every time I go in, I am scared. So, there's certainly a lot of things to it, prices that I pay. Now, another thing that happened is I go in, and as I'm leaving my friends driving back home, I cried so hard. Like I bawled. Like it hit something really core in me. And it was like one of those deep sobs, like as if somebody had just died. And I don't think that's something that I often share. So it was like, yeah, the fear of the physical stuff, but I think it was also a fear of confronting some emotional stuff. And now that I have taken a few people in for their first time, I've gotten to see different people's reactions to it. And anything from just, ecstasy and bliss to like howling terror and like a fight to like stay present and conscious and like, okay, I'm staying with this. I'm staying with this. And sometimes very emotional, heartbreaking, like, oh my gosh, like I didn't even realize I was so sad about whatever. So it can totally elicit a very deep emotional response. And that's one of the things about this, though, that I think is important is perhaps that's why somebody would go in to ice water. I didn't think of it that way, but, like, I needed it. I mean, I didn't know I needed it when it's like one of those things where you do it, and then afterwards you're like, "Oh my god, I so needed that to happen. I'm so relieved." So, I think that's another thing to say about it, is you might not. You might go in and you might just totally love it. You might be like, "Oh, this is great." But there could be you could have a very deep emotional response, and what I would say to that is excellent. Excellent. Your body was probably wanting that to happen, and God bless you for putting yourself in ice water so that you could confront yourself in such a way that you're able to work through something in a physical way. And I this is now I'm going to start getting into more of the body stuff, the emotional intelligence side of things that I see with ice water. So, in all the coaching that I do, and that if any of you join in with me on LinkedIn where I talk about career and emotional intelligence and soft skills, it's the reframe that we look at is fear, hurt, anger, sadness, joy, the five core feelings. Four of those people tend to refer to as negative feelings: fear, hurt, anger, sadness. And, like, you know, I'm working on myself so that I don't feel those things. Like, something's wrong with me if I'm feeling those things. So the reframe is, no, fear, hurt, anger, sadness are wonderful. They are part of you. They're part of life. It's part of our right as a human being to get to feel these things and to emote them, to express them. And so with ice water, it's not a conscious thing. I mean, there's conscious steps I take in preparing for it, but it's a real body, heart, and brain unification that happens because the ice water is confronting to my system, to my whole system. And it's my breath that has me tied to life, has me tied to existence and to being present with myself in the face of adversity. In the case of ice water, it's ice water. It will kill it. Enough time in there, or in too much panicking, or whatever. It is dangerous. There's danger involved in this, and so a lot of people. Oh my God. See, I'm preaching here. I wanted to just respond to some of the comments. Maybe I'll get to that, but stick with me while I'm preaching. So, a lot of the comments have to do with how terrifying it is, and how dangerous it is. And there's truth to that. It is dangerous. It's not nearly as dangerous as you think it is. Especially there, I've been doing this for 2 years. I've done a lot of training for this. So when you see me running around on ice pancakes in 0-degree weather, I can handle it. I'm prepared. I have my whole path planned out. The photographer and videographer, they were there. We had communicated ahead of time about how things were going to go. I kind of pointed to what I was going to do. And, so I had their eyes on me. I also have the Chicago Marine Unit's eyes on me. Not all the time. There's spots where the Marine Unit doesn't have cameras, but that's for a different purpose. But I'll share more about that. But so it is dangerous, but it's not like, honestly, I think driving a car is more dangerous than what I do. I think many things are more dangerous than what I do. I think drinking is more dangerous than what I do. I think, what are some other things? Probably statistics would probably show, just owning a gun is probably more dangerous than what I do. So for everybody commenting, I get it. It's shocking. It totally is. And there's value to recognizing that it's shocking and that there is danger involved in it. And knowing what to do with that and knowing and being prepared is really the important part of this. So it's, I'm going in, the benefits that I get from it is I'm confronting myself in a very physical way. And I'm getting out of my head, because my head, if I just listened to my brain, I would be out of that ice water immediately. But I go in, I'm present, and I let my body do what my body can do. And it actually turns off that monkey mind, that chatter, all those like rolling thoughts that you have. You know what I mean? Like where you're like mind effing, over analyzing stuff, worrying about like, oh, did I say the right thing there? Did I do all that stuff? There's no space for it when I'm in the ice water. It's gone. And so I get clarity about things way faster than I used to. If you like meditating, meditation is wonderful, and I am somebody that is more of a kinesthetic ADHD type. So meditating is a challenge. And to me, it kind of takes a long time. I'm like, I don't want to spend that long. And I've practiced meditation for years, but when, like when I would go to a meditation session and we'd be in there for like 2 to 3 hours, and it's like this long thing, I get to this amazing state. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. I like the things that can happen with meditation. Well, in ice water, they happen very quickly. Sometimes in a few seconds. Sometimes in a few minutes. So it's like, well, I get the health benefits, the physiological health benefits of it. And I get the mental clarity. I mean, it's like I'm still tripping out about it because ice, it's been around my entire life. I've had access to this my whole life. And it's something I would never, ever, ever have thought to do. Right there in front of me. So big shout out to Wim Hof and everybody else who's been doing this for, part of, I know in Siberia, I was talking with a photographer this morning, and she was telling me about the sacredness of going into ice water in Siberia in the wintertime. And, just like, that's great. I mean, people have realized this before, but it's something I never would have considered. And I'm so glad that I did. Well, I wanted to make sure that I'm back preaching about it. Look at that. Because I obviously I'm passionate about this. Some of the negative things, let's go back to that. Because I get a lot of comments about how insane this is. Maybe that's not a great word to use. How weird or dangerous this is. And so part of some other things to consider is it is like, I'm trying to think of the downsides to this. I mean, it's terrifying up front, and it always 2 years into this, and it's still scary. When it hits your nuts or hits your belly, actually my belly is worse. Like, that's really unpleasant. I hate that part. And it's like why I want to get into my neck as quickly as possible. Oh yeah. Okay, so then if you don't wear booties on your feet or neoprene on your hands, you will your hands and feet will go numb, and they will hurt actually. When you first get in, it hurts. Like, it's like, "Argh," like you will be afraid of how much it hurts. Now, it's fine. You can leave your hands and your feet in the ice water without gloves, without protection, and they'll be okay. One of the reasons you see me wear it, especially when it's this cold, and especially when it's like very cold, is because I don't want to get frostbite when I get out. So if it takes me, 5 minutes to walk back to my car, 3 minutes to walk back to my car, and it's 0 degrees with a wind chill of whatever, and I'm wet, I've been in 33-degree water. I just don't want to deal with it. I don't want to get frostbite on my fingers, on my toes, or anything. So I'm very cautious about making sure I have enough neoprene covering when it's super cold. Now, you'll see me when it's like above freezing Fahrenheit, above 32 degrees. Then I might not wear neoprene. But this is to keep in mind, is even if it's nice outside, even if it's 60 degrees outside and the water is still really cold, if you go in, your feet can be numb. And so if there's glass or something on the beach floor or whatever that you're doing, like, I don't know that you'd feel it. If you cut your foot on it, you might not feel it. So that's another reason I wear neoprene very often, unless I'm like can see the bottom and am like aware of the space that I'm going into. I'll often wear neoprene on my feet anyway, just because like that's terrifying to me to be like bleeding out from my foot and not even know it. So that's another thing to consider is that, and then once getting out, like moving is hard. Like the body, I can't feel stuff. So it's like, wait, are my feet really like, even this morning I was wearing neoprene. I'm climbing out on an ice shelf and I had to do it very slowly. And it's vulnerable. Okay, so here we go. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Here's some of the downsides. I don't see them as downsides, but there are things to be aware of. So when coming out of the ice water, again, it can be a very emotional experience for people. So it's like I want to have loving people around. Like, quite honestly, like I was interviewed last year, um, and it was really disturbing to me because I hadn't talked to the person interviewing me before. I didn't know them at all. They were just up there recording, and then I walk up and I'm like out of the ice water, and I'm kind of like in this blissed out state, and like I'm so like open to the universe. And I'm like, whoa. And then they're like interviewing me, and I was so disturbed. I was like, wait, am I presenting this well? Because this, like, I care about this. And so that's something to like think about is if you're going in and it's more than just a run in and run out, if you're going in for a while, you're going to have like you very well might be in an altered state. And I tend to get really, really vulnerable when I get out. Like I feel so much. And so that's something to consider is who's around when you're getting out of the water. I think if you're alone, it's fine. But like, if there's like a bunch of people or something and people need your attention and da 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 da, that's something to consider. When I was doing a shoot the other day, when I got out, all of a sudden I realized like, oh, I'm trying to take care of the people who are here, and I really need to focus on myself. And I told them, I said like, hey guys, just so you know, like right now I feel incredibly vulnerable, and I just am going to focus completely on me right now because that's where I'm at. And so you can be in an altered state. I don't think it's a downside. I think it's a wonderful thing. I think it's part of getting very deeply in touch with myself, and I think that's probably available for you too. But it is something to consider about who is around when you're doing it. It's sort of like, I mean, for anybody who has experimented with hallucinogens, it's kind of like that. Like, who do you want to be around? Who do you want to be with? So that is another thing to be aware of. Again, I don't know that it's a downside, just something to be, noticing. and planning for is what's your exit strategy. So that's I'll talk about that now more. So when in that video that you probably have seen of me walking on those ice pancakes. So I'm walking over there and I say to Craig and Ross, I'm like, hey, what I'm going to do, and I had this all planned out. I knew where my car was. I knew where my supplies were, where I was going to get my bathrobe back on and then my fur coat. And I knew that I wasn't going to try to take off my neoprene gloves or the booties. And so I communicated, I knew exactly what I was going to do, and I communicated to them, here's what I'm going to do. Once I'm in the water from that moment on, you've got me for about 10 minutes because as soon as I get out, it's so cold, I'm walking straight back to the car. And that's what I'm going to do to take care of myself. And so having that kind of game plan for yourself, thinking about what you're going to do once you get out is very important. Because you will be in an altered state, and that is where accidents could happen, is that it's way more likely that you would slip, or you're trying to like put your shoes on and that's not working well. And so then you'll start to, anybody who starts doing this, you're going to start wearing bigger, comfier clothes. You're going to have like bathrobes and things for you to jump into. And you're going to get big, fluffy boots that are easy to put on when your toes. Here's another downside. Getting out of the ice water, you can't feel your toes. So you don't put them into shoes like you normally would. Putting them in, like trying to jam a completely numb foot into a tight-fitting shoe is horrifying. It's like I'm going to break my toes off or something. I can't tell. It's very disturbing. So you will get big, comfortable boots that are easy to put on and take off. And you can just slide your foot in there easily and know, okay, I'm not going to get frostbite on this thing. so that's some of the downsides. Then if you're going in ice, if there's icy spots in there, you can't feel it or you can barely feel it. So right now, like I got scratches all over my body. It's okay. It's not like the ice is going to shred me or something. But like I got these little ice cuts all over myself because I was climbing on ice and I couldn't feel it. So that's another downside to it. All right. So those are some downsides. We're coming up on 7:30 and this is going fast. And I'm like, I see a few people coming in here and I'm like realizing I just apparently love ice water so much. I can talk to myself about it. And great. So I want to now start looking at some comments, seeing if I don't see any comments coming on this thread. So I'm going to jump over here and I'm going to say hello on YouTube. Hello. Type your questions here. And at some point, I will start responding to people's questions and doing reactions. And I hope I can share this. I hope I can share with you my screen. We'll give that a try. Okay. So give me one sec as I move this over here and maybe I can see the chat okay. All right. And then we got this. And move this chat over here. Okay. So if you have questions, go ahead and direct message me on Instagram because I'm not seeing anything showing up for me here. Like a live feed thing through Instagram. So if you have any questions, just DM me on Instagram. I've got that pulled up. I'll see it come in there. And then if you're on YouTube, I have that pulled up as well. and you can go ahead and DM me there. So now I'm going to talk about some of these comments that I've been getting. So, some of these comments that I've been getting. All right. So, this is over on the Fox 32 Chicago. It'd be really fun if I can share this. Share screen. There we go. No, I don't want to share audio. Okay. So, I hope everybody can see that. Oh, cool. Yeah, it's coming up like that. It's kind of little. I don't love it. Yeah, I definitely don't love that. I'm going to switch over to this one and see if that looks any better. Okay, cool. Oh, yeah. That's much better. All right. So, on this one, let's see. Let's take a look. We've got, I'm freezing just by watching him. Totally good. I'm glad there's a little bit of coldness that you're feeling from the city of Chicago going into you just by watching this. That's another thing, is I'm learning to love the cold. So that's good. That is insane. I don't think it's insane. I think it's actually sane. I think it's a fun way to engage with the world around me. The bravery of some people, I tell you. I don't know if it's bravery. Bravery is like when you do something that maybe you don't want to do, or I don't know, or when there's like a higher calling. I don't know that I'd call this bravery, but I appreciate it. It's a nicer comment than I've gotten from some bravery. More like stupidity. That makes no sense why he'd be doing that. Like honestly, person from Florida, 68. I get it. I would not have, if I had seen somebody doing this a while ago, I would have been like, what a fool. So I'll give you a thumbs up. That's my point, is unnecessary. Oh, okay. So they were making a joke. Money Way 85 was like saying it was stupid. Okay. Got it. Yeah, I get it. I understand totally. It does seem like a foolish thing to do. But that's the thing, is so often the things that seem like a good idea, like the things that I think will make me happy, don't make me happy, or they don't make me happy for very long. So ice water. Why? What's the point? Did I respond to that one? Said the same thing. Why? What is he trying to prove? I am trying to prove that, I'm trying to prove to myself that I can stay present with my fear. That I can be one with my fear. Okay, that is what he falls in, he's done. Nope, that's not true. I do fall in, and I am not done. Yeah, but why? Oh, somebody has. I'm not going to say like some of the comments, like some of the real hateful comments. I'm just not going to repeat them. Yeah, I think you understand that. All right. So that was the comments on that one. Let me jump over to. Let me see if you can see this one now. Yeah, I think so. Okay. Wait. I'll stop sharing there. And now I'll share again. Okay. All right. Oh. There we go. Nope. Let's go back to that view. I like that one better. That one's even. Oh, no, you can't see the comments on that one, though. How about that? Nope. Not that one. Not that one. Oh, I like that one. That's kind of nice. So, let's see here. Literally walking on water. It's true. Ice is water. I feel like he's a lot of fun. Thank you. I think I'm a lot of fun too. Geez, people can't just casually live their lives without some creep recording them these days. Greg, you hear that? Well, I actually called him and said, "Hey, let's do this." So, um, I don't know. If I guess if anybody is the creep in that, it's probably me because I'm like, "Hey, come watch me do this thing." We got crazy. I get it. You need to end sanctuary city status and ignore this nonsense. I don't even know what that means. If anybody can tell me what sanctuary city status means, I'd appreciate it. But that one got some laughs. So there we go. Yeah, I got some like images I don't understand. I got more Y's. And then to show it can be done. I guess is part of it. I mean, sure, why not? I guess to show that it can be done is a reasonably. I mean, we're human beings. I'm an American. Like Americans, we, like to do stuff, go to the moon, show it's possible. I think all humans do. So yeah, I'll take that one. I'll to show it can be done. That's that I will accept. Okay, I'm going to jump over to some Instagram comments and see what I can see here. Oh, let me stop sharing this screen and go to something else. Okay. Yep. Stop sharing that one. I'll switch back to that. All right, guys. Hello. So now let me find this on Instagram and some of the comments that I was getting on here. Oh, was I not even on my... Oh, there it says I'm going live on Instagram. Great. What happens if I click on that? Is I'm going to get... Oh, yeah. It says... I don't think it wants me to. Uh-oh. Okay. Sorry about that. I was trying something. So here we go. Let's get some of these. Oh, yeah. The very first comment. Well, Craig got this up there and says, George is a trained cold water swimmer. Do not try this on your own. That is correct. Do not just go walk on ice. If you were to do this without any training, you very well might die. It would be a huge shock to your system, and it would be incredibly dangerous. I have been going into ice water almost daily for 2 years. I've been building up to this. I'm very So yes, Craig, thank you for posting that. And if you have if you have interest in doing this with me, let me know. DM me. So my background is that I'm a coach in social and emotional intelligence. And so working with people, helping people find their edge and go beyond in meaningful ways is like what I do for a living. And so there's total correlation here in a very physical way with ice water. So if this is something that you're interested in, if you're like, dude, I kind of want to do that, and I think I want to have some of those breakthroughs, hit me up. I would love to work with you on it. I've got some ideas about how we can do that. So let's talk if that is something that you're interested in. Then I'm going to get back to these. Now the next one. There's 360 Chicago, so they're watching from the Willis Tower, I believe, or maybe it's John Hancock. The image thing looks way more like the John Hancock, so probably that. Saw this from the 94th floor and almost called the police. That one has almost 2,000 likes and 53 replies. Like, wise, lol, not native. Chicagoans aren't sensitive. Another just woke. Another joke, just FYI. I don't even understand that. This should have this effing idiot. Well, I guess they could have called the police, and not that there would be anything wrong with that, but actually call the Marine unit beforehand so that when distress calls come in, they know not to respond to me. They see me, they have a camera there. There's cameras obviously all over the city. If you didn't know that, now you do. And so there's no need to call the police because they already know. And so, I appreciate the concern. Totally. It makes sense. It is kind of a shocking thing. But I'm happy to say that now people are starting to recognize, like this morning, this guy was like, I saw you. Oh, this is a thing you do. And so it's like, great. And this is part of what I want, is to bring more awareness to Lake Michigan in the Chicago winter. My overall thing that I'm stoked about in this, well, there's so many things I'm stoked about with it, but one of them is that I want Chicagoans to embrace the Chicago winters, to love them, to have a lot of fun in them. And the quickest, easiest way I know how to do that is to go into the lake when it's cold, because the endorphin rush that you get, the physiological response that the body has to cold water, will amp you up. It's like it sends in the signals into my body that I need to face these cold, dark winters. So absolutely. So how did I get on this? See, I'm preaching again. This effing idiot. And I'm like, well, there we go. And snitches get stitches. That's right. I'm gonna like that one. That's right. No need to. Well, I don't know. I mean, if you're concerned, it's probably a good idea. Yes. Well, Maggie Joe knows. She goes in, so she knows about this. Yes, Robin Server, totally. What an amazing experience. It really is. It is. It's terrifying and it's amazing. That's so cool. I know you know this one. And okay, yeah, there's all kinds of positive. Satnam Yoga Chicago, Karan Palkar, we love you. Yes, that was wonderful to see. And Chelsea says, now you're just showing off. It's true. I am. At that point, I'm like, that's right. Just look at me walk in this cold. I can totally handle it. And then we've got, that's right. I want to share this screen with you all. I'm sorry. I wasn't doing that. And that's my bad there. Let's share this one. Yeah, here we go. Okay. Now, can you see that? Nope. I got to turn that little doodle-doo. And now you should be able to see it. Okay. So there we go. Now, then we've got, yes, DJ Megan Taylor in his element. Totally. And Andrew, you guys know each other? Oh, totally. Yep. We do know each other. And okay, yep. There's more then. So for those of you who didn't see it, then I do go in the water. Go to Craig's page to see that. But I want to keep reading these comments. And is this going to let me keep it? Oh, I click that little thing and there we go. Yep. Trained water swimmer. Do not try on your own. If you want to try it, DM me. Let's be in touch. I will help you do this. Or also, if you just want to get on this right away, start looking up stuff on YouTube. It's all over the place. But if you like to be connected with somebody who has worked through this process, and you like that kind of connection with a person you're able to make contact with, hit me up. I would love to work with you on this. Oh yeah, I love this. Sophia, I think about you once a day. I think I talk about you once a day. I tell people that you go in for an ice swim every day, and people in Texas are like, nope. And you're that crazy guy. And yep, now they know that you're not making it up, that you do know somebody that does that. And then, so every year someone drowns off the ice. Sometimes they find the body. Sometimes it turns up in the spring. Oh, that's really sad. I mean, probably, we live in a big city and that kind of thing is going to happen. Ideally it wouldn't, but I don't plan on it being me. I take precautions. In fact, I would say that ice water has helped me get more prepared and just be better at preparing for things in general. I would say that overall, it probably will help me live longer just from a planning perspective. Um, then this is astonishingly stupid. Do not do this. Well, don't do it without preparation and working on it. Worked as a firefighter for 40 years and have done many vice rescues. This guy is foolishly exposing himself, but also rescue. Well, that's another thing is, there's no rescuers needed in this, and I call ahead for it. And I hope that if I would be very grateful if something unforeseen happened. There's always a chance where life is risk. Being alive is a risky thing to do just by being here. So I would hope that if something went wrong, that people would be willing to come help, and I would greatly appreciate it. And it is one of the things that I do like about doing this next to civilization. If I was doing this up in the wilderness and something went wrong, it's true. I probably wouldn't make it. And the chances of being okay because I am next to a city, absolutely. I could actually get help. So, I understand the thought behind that one, but I will disagree. I don't think it's foolish that I do this. I love this one. This is one of my funniest ones. I want to do this. Bye bye, buddy. I hope you find your dad. I do too. And I think all of us are looking for our ideal mother and father out there in the world in some kind of way. So I'm going to take that comment as a beautiful existential wish to me. I hope you find your dad, buddy. Totally. I am. And so that is a comment I fully endorse and throw out there as much as I can. Yes, the rescuers have to jump in freezing water to get you. If I did I fall in and I'm okay because I mean to fall in. But again, if something bad did happen, then I would be very grateful that rescuers would come into freezing water for me. Yeah, 911, what's your emergency? Totally. WTF, do white people not feel cold? So this brings up a whole other thing that I want to absolutely get into, which is, I definitely see some kind of like racial components to stuff in here. I will tell you that I have taken in a Colombian person. I've gone in with a Colombian. I have gone in with an African American from the South, and I can tell you that both of them did better than I did on my first time. So I think any human being is able to face their fears in cold water. I think I don't think race or skin color, however we're going to refer to that, has anything to do with it. Although I get it. If I grew up in central, in Honduras or something, like this would just seem like no way. I mean, it just the most ridiculous thing ever. So I get it. I think those comments are funny. Bro, everyone commenting he's stupid or saying I called the cops, y'all are wussies. People been taking cold ice bath, and even though now it got mainstream and a lot more people are. If you have been training this for a while, this is nothing to people. This guy is awesome and should keep on doing this. Yeah, you got it. I will. Thank you, Alex G27. Totally. I love that. Yeah. Like if you haven't seen it yet, if you haven't seen people going into ice water, well, you're gonna see it. It's a trend. People are doing it, and if so many people are doing it, there must be some kind of a reason to it. So rock and roll. And if I could be a part of helping people know about the benefits of cold water and what to do with it, then I am very happy about that. So thank you for that comment. All right. Now I see that we are coming up on time. I probably have screwed up something here because I don't think I ever got on Instagram. I'm seeing that people on Facebook and on YouTube are able to view it. So I'm not seeing any comments coming in there, but yes, I'm just. Oh no, that sound. Okay, so I'm going to start wrapping it up. I want to share a few things with you that if you are interested in coaching, using ice water as a way to face your fear, face if you've got business plans, if you've got relationship plans, if you've got stuff and you're not reaching your potential and not living the life that you want to live, well, I will be more than happy to take you into ice water as a part of the process for you to face whatever BS you've got in your way from you living the life that you want to live. So keep an eye out for that. I will be making invitations to group trainings as well as one-to-one coaching time with me. So if that is something you're interested in, definitely DM me and be on the lookout. I will be sharing more about that going forward. And, we're coming up on the hour. I've responded to some of these things, and this is my first live in this kind of way where I'm trying to be on all these different channels. So we'll see. We'll see how this goes. If this is something that you are interested in, you want me to do more of this, let me know. Let me know. And I will, if this turns into a thing where I'm bringing on people that I'm interviewing and talking with them and we're responding to comments together, like that'd be a whole lot of fun. I love connecting with you. I love, responding on Instagram, Facebook, and all these platforms when I can with messaging, but I'm not getting to it all. I got other things. I got to go jump in the lake. I can't. So I figured that doing stuff like this, where I'm going live more, might be a good way for me to engage in a way that is more fun for me. So we'll see. We'll see if I keep doing this. I'm going to start signing off, everybody. Great being with you. I am glad that there's interest in ice water. My Chicago goal around this, as I've said before, is I want Chicagoans to embrace Chicago winters. And that may have nothing to do with you going into ice water, but maybe it's an inspiration to you that you see me and other people doing it, and that it's like something that we actually look forward to, and maybe that can start to go into the mind and say, oh, I can't wait until it gets cold and dark and snowy and like a magical land where, we kind of come together as a species in this civilization and lean on each other and need each other in all kinds of new ways, because we do when it's cold. I think the warmth in people's hearts shines when it's cold. And so I want to encourage Chicagoans to embrace the cold, to embrace cold Chicago. And to, wouldn't that be great if like you not only love Chicago summers, but you also love Chicago winter and you have a wonderful playground year round? That's what I'm talking about. So with that, I'll be signing off. Thank you, everybody, for joining in. Many blessings. I'll see you in a bit. Now I got to figure out how to end this thing. Oh, there we go. Bye.